I spent the better part of 2 years searching for the right niche: content marketing coach, premium client acquisition specialist, high ticket service provider. And here's the thing: I switched every 6 to 10 weeks when nothing stuck. And every time I switched, I told myself this one would be the one. It wasn't. And the reason had nothing to do with the niches I picked per se. It was the search itself that was the problem. And if you're stuck in the same loop right now, picking, pivoting, starting all over, this video is for you. This is why in this video we're talking about the sequencing error. Stop finding a niche, right? The the search never resolves because it's asking the wrong question. And also, before we move on, if you're building for real leverage instead of grinding harder, subscribe. This channel breaks down digital leverage and creative autonomy practically. So here's the situation you're probably in if you clicked on this video and you're watching it. You can clearly see that most people accept the kind of mediocrity, especially if you've seen some of my other videos: the 9 to 5 or the survival loop, the script, the slow drift. You don't want that. You see what's possible on the internet: people building things, helping others, creating impact, selling things, owning their time. But before you can build anything, you think you need to figure out what you're supposed to be known for. So you research, you map your personality, and if you're like me, you do the ikigai framework. You inventory your passions, because everybody says follow your passions, and every time you land somewhere, it feels either too broad or completely random. Like you picked a costume rather than built an identity. Here's what's actually happening: you've been taught that a niche is an input, something you choose before you start. I'm here to tell you it's not. A niche is an output. It's what the market calls the space around the problem you already solved, or a need that you are successfully providing or fulfilling. And treating it, the niche, as an input, as a starting decision, is what's keeping you in the loop. So here's why niche hunting is a category error. The standard creator advice goes like this: pick a lane, claim an identity, build an audience around it, and then figure out what to sell. It sounds logical. It's backwards, however. The problem isn't that niches don't matter, they do eventually. The problem is sequencing. Creator education optimizes for positioning before product. Find the category first, build the audience second, monetize third. And for most people, the sequence produces one thing: a very refined version of nothing. And so, here's the standard advice: pick a lane, build an audience, figure out what to sell. So you pick a niche before building anything, right? This is where you start going in search of a category to fit yourself in. Grow a following which optimizes for reach, not revenue. Figure out what to sell, or which brands to sponsor you, or what affiliates to put under your videos, or AdSense, which you don't have uh, proper control over these means of making money or monetization. But I digress. We'll talk about that later. So yeah, figure out what to sell, where the search loop never, where the search loops forever. So the actual order is: leave a constraint, document the solution, and niche images last. So leave a real constraint: the problem finds you. Document the solution: no audience needed to start. Build the product, the niche labels itself afterward. Distribution follows. Now you have something worth following, right? So when you optimize for a niche before you've built anything, you end up mimicking people who are already established in that space. I did this, right? All of those things I was telling you, I've experienced this. People, I listened to authorities or gurus that say just pick a niche, start from there. I did this. I became a clone, punching hollow content into X or Twitter and LinkedIn, engaging on other people's posts, hoping some of those eyes would drift to my page. And I was selling solutions to problem I had no real evidence of having solved. I wasn't actually even fulfilled. I didn't even believe in the things I was doing. I was just so self-centered on how can I make money or make something online. Which there's nothing wrong with making money or helping people and getting value in exchange. But this whole just trying to mimic somebody else or fit some category, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. So that's not a business essentially, right? That's performance in a crowded room. And essentially this creates what we call the red ocean, right? Like, why the search fails structurally. Analysis lands you where everyone else landed. So we have a red ocean, because think about it: if you come up to the logical conclusion that, oh, so and so category or niche is good for business, then hundreds to millions, hundreds of thousands to millions of people have all reached that logical conclusion, and they're all going to try and mimic or imitate somebody who already has success. And so you find yourself in this analysis first niche, the red ocean: crowded, entrenched authorities, clone content, no genuine stake, creator quits before compounding. And then you could actually follow your own constraints, your own lived problem, and be in your own category, the category of one. Constraint first built, emerged from lived experience, can't be reverse engineered, only imitated by some other people, obviously, who see, oh, this guy has a successful category or niche. Let me mimic that. And then there will just be a lot of people who start mimicking what you build. But here's the thing: people won't trust their content, their products, their solutions, their transformations. They'll trust you because there is a level of tangibility with what you're speaking and what you're putting out, because it comes from a real place. I don't know if that makes sense. So a niche is a starting point. It's what the market calls the problem around the space you have solved. So here's the structural reason it fails. Let me just iterate on this point again. If your logical mind arrived at a niche through research and analysis, so did hundreds of thousands of other people. You've just entered a red ocean, a space full of entrenched authorities capturing disproportionate returns while everyone else competes for the crumbs. The niche didn't come from anything real, so it can't compound into anything real. So now, real quick, just a little side here. If this loop is where you are right now, the analysis, the switching, the building nothing, essentially, I put together a short framework called the 7-day wealth reset. It's designed to help you rethink how you're spending your time and start building the first layer of actual leverage. The link is in the description. Let's proceed. So, how a real constraint revealed a niche for me. So, what does the right sequence actually look like? Let me use something concrete, right? I built a product called the 48-hour game scope. I think I talked about this in my previous video. I'll keep on talking about this product and others that I create from my own pain, from my own uh, lived pain experience, etc. So it's a toolkit for intermediate indie game developers using Unity 3D, specifically for the ones who keep starting projects and abandoning them before they ship. Scope creep tutorial hell, the confidence that slowly erodes every time you restart. So I didn't research that niche. I was living that problem. For all those that don't know, which probably most of you watching this video, I'm a polymath. I'm trying to buy back time from the survival loop, which is a constraint which allowed for this business. This is a business for me, by the way. This part of the business, teaching this. And then I also have curiosities and obsession in other things. One of those being independent game development. It's a career, it's a self um, self-chosen career path that I want to grow in. I aspire to go full-time, create games, which is just fun, creative, and commercially viable business. And I've found this issue of scope creep, which, like I said, starting projects and abandoning them before they help, before I could ship, I was abandoning projects, and so I just started solving this problem for somebody like me. And let me show you this right here. So proof of sequence, the 48-hour game scoper. I didn't research the indie game dev niche. I was leaving a problem inside it. The niche was just what I called the audience afterward. So lived constraint, it's built on a lived constraint. Scope creep, project abandonment, leaving the problem, not researching it. I documented it, solutions written step by step, no audience required to begin. And then I launched it on Gumroad. Nothing crazy. Before a single follower was looking for it, the problem was enough. And then the niche was revealed after. Unity devs struggling with scope appeared as a label never chosen. Now, here's my contention or the argument of this video. People are flipping this sequence upside down. They start from the niche. Unity devs struggling with scope. Now, let's just say somebody is making money off of this niche already. How is you, the person who just hears that and has no interest in independent game development, could be software development, could be graphics design, could be client acquisition, it could be anything, right? I'm just using this as an example. How is you, the random person who has no experience or interest in game development, Unity developers, indie game developers, going to successfully solve this problem for independent game developers, right? Like, it's possible, but it's just much harder. Like, there's a saying, I'm probably going to butcher this. It's much easier to swim with the river, the stream, flowing downstream than trying to swim upstream, right? I don't know if I butchered it, but you get the point. And that's what I am trying to help you understand. So I documented the constraint, I wrote out the solution, the actual sequence I used to scope a project and ship it before abandonment took hold. I'm still figuring this out. I'm iterating, I'm testing. It's built for me. It's built to solve my own problem. And if I'm successful, I can put it out in the world and help somebody else who keeps on quitting their game projects and just essentially feels like they're not worthy to be an independent game dev and just put that away, which we don't want that. So that document became the product. I launched it on Gumroad before I had a single person looking for it. And then something happened. Unity devs struggling with scope appeared as a category, not because I chose it, but because the product made it visible. The niche was revealed by the problem. I never went looking for it. That's the difference. A niche you find through analysis is a costume. A niche that emerges from a solved problem is a body of work. And you can feel the difference when you try to talk about it. One is hollow, the other has weight. So the constraint inventory, here's how you find your entry point. Not through personality mapping, not through passion inventories, through constraint inventory. Three lines that surface what you are actually qualified to solve. So here's the exercise, the constraint inventory. Constraint one, what friction did you hit in the last 12 months that cost you real time or energy? Specific obstacle, not a skill gap. That the one that made you stop and find a workaround. And constraint two, same question, different problem. Go one layer deeper than the first. Aim for a different domain than number one. The variety surfaces the pattern. And here's the beauty of this. This is permissionless leverage, right? So you have the permission, like if you have agency, you can talk about anything as long as you have some experience to it. You don't have to be some authority. Let's say you went through a breakup or anything with relationships, had success or went through something painful and you overcame a problem. You can talk about relationships. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. Probably your lived experience, some other human being somewhere in the world will relate to that and can get value from that. You can talk about wealth. Don't have to be a millionaire or just anything adjacent to wealth, business, money, right? Or health. These are the three. They're sub niches or sub. I don't want to use the word niches, but you get what I'm trying to say here. You can talk about any of these things as long as you have experienced it. The category, the label appears later. I just don't want you to limit yourself to anything specific. Hope that makes sense. And then constraint three, which of your three has the sharpest solution and the strongest someone else's stack here signal? Circle it. That's where you start building, not your niche, your entry point. So yeah, think about the last 12 months. List three specific frictions you hit, not skills, not interests, actual obstacles, and how you go through them. Then write each one out using this structure. I was trying to do X, the obstacle was Y, what I ended up doing was Z or Z. Three constraints, three narratives, the one with the most specific solution and clearest. Someone has the exact problem feeling, that's your entry point. Not your niche, your entry point. Because over time, the where what becomes your entry point can expand. The market will teach you. Like these videos right now, I'm putting these videos right now, they're not getting a lot of views now, but with time, with iteration, I will get informed data and it will help me improve on what has now become a niche, whatever you want to call it. But I'm saying all this for you to understand that at best it's almost speculation until you put it out into the world and get data, become informed and iterate. So put something in the world. This is just becomes your entry point, and then with time you get better. So the niche comes later as a label once there's something for it to label. So, what to do this week? One action, one sitting. Open a blank document, write three constraints. Oh, and I'll leave a tool just to help this whole thing be simplified. So, write three constraint narratives using that structure that I showed you, the XYZ. I was trying to do X, the obstacle was Y, what I did was Z. Don't overthink it, don't filter for what sounds marketable, just write the real ones. When you're done, look at which one has the sharpest solution and the strongest sense that someone else is stuck there right now. Circle it. That's where you start building, not searching. Done looks like three narrative constraints written out, one circled, nothing launched, and that's fine. You just ended the search. So here's where you are right now. Let me show you where you are compared to where you were before. You understand that we start from a constraint, We document a solution, build a product, and then the niche labels itself. So the niche is last, a label, not a foundation. So you stop searching for it, build the thing it labels. So you know a niche isn't something you find, right? It's something that gets revealed after you've solved something real or provided or fulfilled a real need. You know why the search never resolves, and you have one action that replaces the search with a build. The next question is, once you have identified that constraint, how do you turn it into something people will actually pay for? The structure, the pricing, the first offer. That's what the next video covers. So subscribe if you want that. And if you're ready to build the full system from your first solved constraint to your first scalable product, the link to leverage launch plan is in the description. Start with the 7-day wealth reset. Thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one.